little bit of a character. It's not the way that we normally view hospitals. It's viewed in a positive way because for a lot of people that have cystic fibrosis and other...
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds might not be thrilled about this. Justin Baldoni just scored a big win, and a recorded phone call could change everything. I'm Andy Signal, and I want to update you on yesterday's developments, which include new information about a recorded call from Jaime Heath that could have serious implications in both cases. Thankfully, the media covered this, and for once, it was fairly positive. Justin explained that he did achieve a legal victory, though some reporters, like Fran Hopner at Vulture, tried to spin it negatively, which is frustrating given that this is Blake Lively's lawsuit, initiated by Stephanie Jones, and Baldoni's lawyers simply want it resolved. Here's what actually happened. The judge greenlit a defamation suit from Expose. Stephanie Jones, the publicist at Jones Works who was working for Justin at Wayfair, ALLEGEDLY, took a phone from Jennifer Al and shared its contents with Blake Lively. These texts then became key evidence in the lawsuit. Stephanie Jones had attempted to amend her complaint to include others, like Melissa Nathan, but the judge denied that request. A Wayfair representative stated, "We're pleased with the court's decision to deny Stephanie Jones's attempt to dismiss Wayfair's lawsuit and to allow our core claims, including defamation and bad faith conduct, to move forward." As alleged in Wayfair's counterclaim, after being notified her contract would end, Stephanie Jones turned against her longtime client, Justin, sharing internal communications and pushing false allegations about a so-called smear campaign. The court rejected her effort to dismiss these claims, allowing them to be examined based on the facts, including her alleged misuse of internal information and communications. This is not a minor dispute. Stephanie Jones has tried to stay in the background while portraying herself as a victim, but her actions taking Jennifer Eel's phone, which contained personal and sensitive information, including medical and banking data, and sharing its contents raise serious ethical, legal, and moral concerns. Jennifer's recent pleading emphasized that the phone was promised back but never returned, which makes the situation even more troubling. Stephanie Jones is still pursuing her suit against Wayfair, but now Justin can countersue. While his countersuit against Blake was dismissed, this new case is moving forward, meaning Blake may have to testify. There's still a lot unresolved, and this case has become much more complex. For Stephanie Jones, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds, this development is likely infuriating, as it opens a separate lawsuit that can't simply be settled between Justin and Blake. Lively would probably refuse to settle her suit with Justin if she's still potentially liable in the separate case with Stephanie Jones, which makes this far more complicated than it appears. The bigger question isn't why Justin's lawyers want this to continue, they don't. He's being sued, but rather why Blake and Ryan Reynolds are still letting this go forward. That's the real headline, and that's what's actually happening. Stephanie Jones had attempted to amend her complaint to add Melissa Nathan to the defamation claim. Nathan, a crisis PR expert recommended to Wayfair by Jennifer Al for the NNN's With Us controversy over the summer, was seen by Jones as a competitor. Jones alleged that Nathan orchestrated a hostile Business Insider article and even created smear websites, supposedly to damage Jones's reputation in the PR industry, eliminate her as a competitor, and take her clients. From what I've gathered, and from other sources, Stephanie Jones is a very volatile and vengeful person, making her notoriously difficult to work with. The judge ultimately denied the amendment. The ruling stated that the Jones parties failed to show good cause for the late motion to add defamation and tortious interference claims. The late addition was deemed the result of undue delay and lack of diligence, and it would have caused undue prejudice to the defendants. Specifically regarding Melissa Nathan, the judge noted that the motion came 8 months past the deadline the court had set, April 18, 2025, as the final date to file motions to amend or join additional parties. The Jones parties didn't move to amend their complaint until December 2025, even though the defendants argued they had known about the facts underlying their proposed defamation and tortious interference claims from the very beginning of the case. The court agreed and completely denied the motion. Now, turning to Jaime Heath and that recorded phone call we mentioned earlier, this became a key point in the proposed amendment. Stephanie Jones wanted to add Heath as a defendant, claiming he violated Illinois statutes by recording a private phone call with her without consent. In the proposed complaint, Jones alleged that during the call, Heath, located in Chicago, recorded the conversation with Jones without informing her or seeking her permission. Wayfair's rebuttal clarified the timeline. Heath had produced a recording of an August 8th call with Jones, who was in London at the time, prior to any deposition or legal action. At that point, Jones was still representing Wayfair regarding PR matters unrelated to the Lively lawsuit. During his deposition, Heath explained that he recorded the call because of growing concerns about Jones's conduct. Essentially, he wanted to keep a record of her actions. Legally, the judge addressed several key points. First, the party invoking federal jurisdiction must show a reasonable probability that the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. The court found no good faith basis for this, noting that the complaint didn't suggest it met that threshold, and the Jones parties failed to argue otherwise. Second, the court considered personal jurisdiction over Heath. To establish jurisdiction, the plaintiff must show the court has authority over the defendant. The court found it did not have general jurisdiction over Heath, who was alleged to reside in Los Angeles, and there was no claim that he conducted business in New York or committed any tortious act there. Furthermore, the complaint didn't properly allege Jones's location at the time of the call. Lastly, the plaintiffs failed to show actual damages from the recording. As a result, the amendment adding Heath was rejected, and Jones must proceed with her original complaint. What's especially interesting here is that Heath's recording, made out of concern for Jones's conduct, can now be used by Wayfair. Jones had tried to argue that the recording itself was a violation to discredit it, but the court's ruling effectively shut down that challenge. By losing this argument, Jones unintentionally made it easier for Wayfair to use the tape against her during litigation. This ruling means the tape is still very much in play. Legal expert Ron Zambrano explained that the recording won't be used unless a witness on the stand disputes the veracity or existence of the conversation. Essentially, the tape can't just be played automatically. It's only introduced if someone denies that the conversation took place or challenges what was said. The parties can reference the call, but the recording itself only becomes evidence if a witness disputes it. Of course, this assumes the conversation is relevant to the underlying claims. Even though Jones lost her motion, whether the audio gets used will depend on what happens during testimony. This is a major development. Stephanie Jones took big swings with her motions and lost, and now these recorded calls could be a key factor in the case. It's a significant win for Justin in his defamation suit against Jones, who appears to be a central orchestrator in the broader conflict. Her actions, especially taking Jennifer Eel's phone and allegedly using it vindictively, cast her in a negative light, and it seems unlikely she backed down. In many ways, she is the reason Blake felt justified in pursuing her lawsuit. If accountability is served, it's likely going to come back to her role in all of this. So, what do you think about these developments? Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for alerts, give a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps us keep you updated on this case and other pop culture news. Stay tuned here on Popcorn Planet. Popcorn Planet.